Okay, since we have that, we can now start working on the sign-in page. So to do that, I'm going to open the sign-in screen like this. Okay, so our sign-in screen is not going to have the app bar. Instead, I'm going to replace it with a body, a column. So column is going to have children. So the first child is going to be a text which says sign in to your account, like that. And then we have a hello emoji. I'm going to just get in from the internet like that. I'm going to save it. So as you can see, we have it over here at the top. So our scaffold, I'm going to wrap it with another widget. I'm going to wrap it with the safe area, right? So that we get away from the time and the battery and whatever, those kind of stuff. All right, so for the styling of this text, I'm going to create a new folder that is going to deal with the styling. So to do that, I'm going to go to the lib folder and I'm going to create yet another folder which I'm going to call utils. Inside this utils folder, I'm going to create a new file which I'm going to call app styles. Okay, so this is going to be a class app styles. So inside this class, I'm going to define the styles that I'm going to use for the text of this application. Also, I'm going to create yet another class that I'm going to call size config, size_config, and I'm going to use this one to get the proportionate height and width of the device. So this is going to be a class size config. So first of all, what I need to do is to get the device height. So screen height 0.0 static double screen width static widen it. It's going to take build context. So we can now initialize the screen width equals to media query dot of context dot size dot width, and then we can do the same for the screen height. So screen height is equals to media query dot of context dot size dot height, like that. So here we can create a method that returns a double. I'm going to call it get proportionate height, which is going to take in some some variable that a person takes, and then is going to return, sorry about that, the input height that a person has just input. I'm going to divide that by 812, and then I'm going to multiply that by the screen height, like that. Okay, and then I can do the same for width. So I'm going to call it get proportionate screen width, like that, which is going to take some input width, and I'm going to divide this by 375, and then I'm going to multiply it with screen width, like that. Alright, so once I have that, I can go back to my app styles, and here I'm going to define the app style for the heading, for the title, and also for the normal text. So static final heading text style Google Fonts. So inside of this class, I'm going to import Google Fonts. I don't know why it is not suggesting it automatically, because I have already installed the package, but it's still okay. But I'm going to use the McLaren for this particular application. So for the font size, I'm going to use size config. So we have just created this class. So get size config dot get proportionate height. I'm going to set it to 24. I'm going to give it a font weight of W600, and also going to give it a color of colors.black. Like that. So we need to import material dart so that we can use the color. Okay. So that is the heading text style. We can copy this again. So this one is going to be a title. So for the title, I'm going to give it a height of 20. This one's can remain like that. And this one is for the normal. And for normal, we can give it a text of, say, 12, for example. Actually, I'm going to give this a title of like 18, a height of 18, and let me reduce this to, say, 22. So I'm going to give this a font weight of W100, and I'm gonna give this a height, a font weight of, say, W400. So this one I can name this to capital S like that, so that it follows the correct naming style of a class. And I'm gonna save all that. Then I'm gonna go back to my sign-in screen. The style that I'm gonna use here is app styles. I'm gonna use the title text style. Okay, like that. And it will be nice to initialize the size config. So size config.init with the context. So I'm going to hot restart the application since we have added some files. And as you can see now, we have our sign in to your account text appearing over there. So before I even continue, I'm going to wrap this column into another widget called the single child scroll view. And then to give space to this text, I'm going to wrap this widget into a padding. I'm going to set edge insets dot from LTRB. So for the left, I'm going to give size config get proportionate screen width of 10 and move const. For the other one, I'm going to give size config get proportionate height of, say, 50 to give a good height there. For the right, I'm gonna go again with size config dot get proportionate width and set to 10. And for the bottom, just give it 0. So that way we have some space at the top there. So after our text, we need to create a sized box here to create some space. So sized box with a height of size config dot get proportionate height, and I'm gonna give it a height of 25. So after that text, what we need to do now is to add the form field to input the email and also the password. So to do that, what I'm going to do, instead of adding all the code here, I'm going to go to the authentication folder here, and then inside the presentation, but inside this widgets folder here, I'm going to create a new file which I'm going to call common text field, like that. This is going to be a stateless widget, so it's going to be a common text field. I'm going to import material dart to remove all those errors. Inside the build method, we are going to return a text form field. which is going to have a keyboard type. I'm going to have a controller. So we're going to have a decoration, which is of type input decoration. Hint text. Hint text. Hint style is going to be app styles dot normal text style. Is going to have a border of outline input border, a border radius of border radius dot circular. Give it a size of 30. Border side, which will be a constant. Border side color, colors.gray, and a width of 1.0. It's also going to have an enabled border, outline input border, border radius dot circular 30.0, a border side of const border side, color, colors.gray, width 1.0. We are also going to set the forecast border. Again, is of type outline input border, a border radius dot circular 30.0, and a border side color, colors.gray, and a width of 1.0. We're finally going to set a content padding, horizontal 10.0. So to resolve these errors, you are going to need a final string hint text, a final text input type, a final bool that is nullable, obscure text like that, and a final text editing controller like that. So for the keyboard type, is going to be replaced by the text input type like that.